Hey YouTube. So I am just here polishing off this eggnog to basically get me in the holiday spirit, and I felt like baking today, so I thought I would show you how I make my magical gingerbread cookies. Okay, so the magical history of gingerbread really dates back to the Elizabethan era, when Queen Elizabeth I hired gingerbread bakers from Germany, probably, to bake gingerbread in her kitchens in the likeness of her suitors or her foreign dignitaries. Now, this was later adopted by local bakers throughout England who would also bake gingerbread in the likeness of males. And young maidens would buy this, believing that if they got their favorite knight to eat a cookie in his likeness, it would bind them two together, and they would it would pretend her future marriage to him. There really is a good reason, magically speaking, for believing in this folk charm, this magical ability of gingerbread to cause affection, to bind it to the object of your affection, to bind them to you. That is, of course, because it includes molasses, and anyone who's ever seen Practical Magic will know that molasses will bind you two together too. But of course, it also has luxurious spices and vanilla extract. Vanilla is a wonderful lucky charm. It also helps to it's also used as a very generic sort of a love potion in and of itself, or it's used in love uncrossing work. But the spices were believed to keep you warm in winter, and almost any warming spice was also thought to be an aphrodisiac at the same time. So we have cinnamon, which is very Jovian. It is used to expand our prospects, to bring us great sums of money and wealth and prestige. But it was also used to induce love and passion as well. We have ginger in this recipe, which is it's very similar to cinnamon. The warming nature of it helps to expedite a situation. And of course, we have allspice. Now, allspice is a really interesting, also a Jovian ingredient. Allspice will help you to. Well, allspice acts as a magical catalyst, and that means it will take whatever other magical ingredients you place next to it, and it will help them work in harmony with each other, and it will expand the magical energies of those herbs itself. So really, that is the magic of gingerbread. This recipe is wonderful for the Yule Sabbath cakes if you are making them for an aspect ritual or for a generic a British traditional a Sabbath gathering. I would recommend cutting them in the shape of crescent moons. You can also, you later on, make pentacles out of them by simply cutting out a round of dough and using an egg wash to glue a star shape cut out of dough onto the circle and bake them together, and it sticks. It works just like glue. It's really, really awesome. So for this recipe you will need, of course, and the recipe is not only in the description box below, but there's a link to my blog where I also have the recipe. But you'll need, of course, mild molasses, because you don't really want the strong stuff. You want something more mild, so the other flavors really have a chance to shine. You will need some pure vanilla extract. Never, never, ever, ever use the imitation crap. Of course, I stick to the spices you will need. You also need some salt, 1 whole egg, and 1 egg yolk. The additional egg yolk adds some richness to the recipe. Some brown sugar and some flour. This is 3 3/4 of a cup of flour, into which I have blended 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And I just sifted it together. Now the next step, and of course, 1.5 sticks of butter. But the next step actually involves us over the stove. And like any traditional Sabbath cake recipe, it involves cooking the honey with the wine. Or if you're making these as Sabbath cakes, I would recommend adding a teaspoon of wine, whatever Sabbath wine you happen to be using. Except for a Merlot. If you use a Merlot and you bake anything with it, it will turn out really dense, rock hard. You won't want to eat it at all. So we're actually going to be cooking most of these ingredients together on the stovetop. That will also assist with releasing a lot of the aroma and the volatile essential oils in some of the spices. Alright, I am just cooking over the stove the butter, the brown sugar, got my molasses over there, the spices and the salt and the vanilla are in here. And I'm just going to let this heat over until the molasses and the brown sugar are nice and dissolved. There we go. And as soon as that is done, I will take you back over to the blender. Alright, so my molasses mixture is in the bowl of my KitchenAid mixer, and one thing I forgot to mention that will help in the cooling process is, as well as making sure that there's no gritty sugar mouthfeel when you eat them, is you want to blend the mixture for about half a minute, then let it rest for 3 minutes, and you want to repeat that at least 3 times. And after several minutes, it's actually fairly cool. Now, it's actually at room temperature, so when I add the whole egg plus the egg yolk, it won't scramble, basically. And really what you're looking for is a very dark, thick, rich, molassesy consistency that's, fairly runny, because you've added the butter and the sugar and the spices to it. Alright, and you just want to beat those until they are well incorporated. Okay, and we are basically in the home stretch now, and you just tip in the flour. But before I do, I want to mention that you should really get some cornstarch on hand, because this was a trick that was passed down to me by a professional gingerbread maker, and she said that instead of using flour to coat your working surface and your rolling pin on, use cornstarch, because it gives sort of a nice shiny appearance to the gingerbread once it's baked. So we just tip in the flour. In just a few additions. And you want to start on low so you don't wear it. And when it is mostly incorporated, you add the second or third batch of flour. Because you never, ever, ever want to overwork flour, otherwise you get really tough cookies. Definitely want to scrape the sides. Give it one last stir. And we are essentially done. Now all that's left to do is wrap the dough in. We want to divide the dough in half and wrap it in cling film or plastic wrap, and chill it for at least an hour, preferably overnight if you can. And I will see you when I get around to rolling and cutting and baking. Okay, I just dug out my cookie cutters. This is my newest one. I got that from Williams-Sonoma. In fact, I hope to soon transfer over to all copper cookie cutters because they just look nicer. So what I've done is using cornstarch as a to roll my dough with. I've rolled it out to a generous 1/4 of an inch thick, and I am just going to cut up my shapes. And of course some of these guys have very intricate patterns. So just be very, very ginger with them. There we go. And a really great tip before you bake them is to throw them in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes before baking, and they'll hold their shape a lot better. I have my crescent cutter for Sabbath cakes, and my circle and star for pentagrams. Hey YouTube, so everyone, is sleeping right now, so I'm trying to be a little quiet. But I have finished up my bacon today, and just look at these little guys. They're soft and chewy, and hold on. Let's see if I can. There you go. Yeah, they actually taste pretty good. I was really impressed. So as I said earlier, the recipe is down below. And I guess I will see you guys after the holidays. Bye. Keep calm and with John. Oh, Menlo and its little traditions. He should actually be coming down our street, I think.